Welcome everybody, it's Mary Fish with Stampin' Pretty and StampinPretty.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I have a passion for paper crafting and I sell the products that I'm sharing with you today, as well as post to my blog, StampinPretty.com, every day. So please stop by and subscribe to my daily blog updates, as well as my free newsletter. Today I wanted to share with you a card I created for a good friend who is having some surgery, and I used the Stampin' Up! Healing Hugs stamp set for the flower, leaves, and the sentiment. Here is the stamp set. Sorry, there's a little bit of glare. That's not a lot I can do about because I need some light to do the video. It's called a distinctive stamp with the word ink as kind of the highlight because it has this very fine, intricate detail. I used entirely blueberry bushel ink on all of the stamping for this card, but because of this beautiful shading and the design of the actual red rubber itself, I get all of that gorgeous shading. So I think that turned out really beautifully. And then in the background, I'm using our buffalo check background stamp. Literally, it is a gingham machine. You could create something that looks like the North Woods with black on red or green and black, or you could do soft shades for gingham and baby. I love gingham patterns and I love being able to make them any color that I want. But sometimes background stamps can be a little bit tricky. So I wanted to share with you what I did to get the best possible coverage. Never perfect, and that's the reason I use the Stamparatus, because I can get about as close to perfect as I'm going to get. So let me give you a few tips. This is the Stamparatus, the stamp positioning tool from Stampin' Up! I will also post a video that I've done about the benefits of the Stamparatus. This is just one of them. I've also put a DVD container below to help me keep this large plate and stamp very, very even, especially when I'm going to be inking up such a large stamp. I used the grid lines, which you may not be able to see as well, to really line it up crisp. That's going to help when I trim it later to have lined it up. And I'm also using a larger piece of our Whisper White cardstock, just so that I can move this away from the hinge a little bit. And I'm also using a magnet pad that I got from Stampin' Storage, not Stampin' Up!, as a shim, as well as a magnet to help keep the paper in place. I will have that information on YouTube for you as well. And feel free to leave any YouTube comments or questions. I love and I'm happy to answer them quickly. So I'm going to use Blueberry Bushel ink, and I'm going to ink it up really good. The beauty of using a darker ink is I can see where it's going. And I'm going to just do my best to get good coverage right from the get-go. And it's a big stamp, so it takes more ink. And I just want to make sure I've got things. I'm just looking for any little missing spots, because if I end up with a missing spot on the other side, it's usually because of the inking. And so I'm going to place it down, and then I'm going to apply even pressure all the way across. I'm even going a little outside the lines. I'm not cranking on this. I'm just applying even pressure because there's just so much area to transfer. And I'm going to go here, and now I'm going to go this direction because, again, it's a big stamp, and I'm hoping, even though the Stamparatus is very, very, very forgiving, I'm hoping I don't have to re-stamp it, but I might, and that's okay. So we'll see what we get this first time. I'm going to give you some alternate tips in case there's a little tiny missing spot. So we've got a few missing spots there. So that is my guide. That's somewhere over in here. See those didn't transfer. I can probably lay it right down again and really push a little more there, but I'm just going to go ahead and add a little more ink and do a little better job. Make sure I really push and transfer in that area. I think it's worth it. So I'm going to really push. That's where I was. You can do this as many times as you want because I'm using the hinge to lock it in place as well as the magnet. So yeah, it's a little more work, but I think it's worth it. Just want to make sure I get good coverage this time. Press evenly where it was a little trickier. So that's pretty darn perfect. It did take me a couple tries to get this level of coverage. I've had times where I've inked it up and it was perfect the first time. I'm under some light, so I can't quite see where stuff is. So again, use this as your guide to make sure that you've inked up well. Use the Stamparatus because it's very forgiving, and make sure you're giving this a nice chance when you're actually stamping down to get nice, even pressure. If you're really picky, I guess there's a little tiny inconsistency here. I personally would never ink it up and do it again, but you can use either a blender pen to kind of just dot a little ink there, or a marker if you want. It's not worth it. This is stamping, this is ink, this is pretty close to perfection, and I think it's just beautiful. So thank you for joining me for my WOW video tutorial. Please feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. We're also offering the holiday catalog right now, so if you plan to place your next Stampin' Up! Order through me, please email me, mary@stampinpretty.com, and request a free holiday catalog. I'd be happy to send it if you're in the US. Thank you and bye-bye.